Today we are going to be refinishing this mid-century dresser covered in black paint. That has to go. I am hoping that there is some beautiful walnut veneer underneath this. I actually got this dresser for free. A lady reached out to me off of Facebook that had seen my work and offered me this free dresser. This dresser does have quite a bit of damage on some areas, so I will have to go through and patch that damage, blend the veneer to match. I'm hoping that I will get it looking like its original state again. So I'm really not sure what type of finish this is. The paint scratches really easily, so it tells me it's some kind of matte paint. However, it's not penetrating to the actual wood once I'm scratching the paint. So I'm gonna be really disappointed if underneath this paint it's like particle board. Sometimes it can be hard to tell when a dresser is painted. I try to look at like the back side of the dresser, the sides of the dresser, and look for like a thin little strip of veneer. And that can kind of help you tell if it is real wood or not. For this flip, the first thing that I'll be doing is going in with some citrus strip. This is what's going to be the thing that gets the bulk of the paint off the dresser. It's going to avoid hours of sanding and just do all of the work for me. When I'm using stripper, I always apply a generous amount to whatever I am trying to remove. There is definitely a learning curve to using stripper. A lot of people will try to remove it way too quickly or wait too long. It depends a lot on the temperature that surrounds you outside. So when it's warmer outside, the stripper is going to work a lot quicker. When it's cooler outside, it takes a lot longer to activate and do its magic. Always make sure you're checking it periodically by just scraping a small area and see if the paint comes off. When it comes to stripping paint off furniture, some must-have supplies are a putty spatula or knife, some steel wool, and wire bristle brushes. Stripping the paint off these legs using a putty knife wasn't the easiest since the legs are rounded, but in a minute I'll be going in with a steel wool pad, and this gets it off a lot easier when it comes to curves. Now that all the stripper's been removed, there was a lot of sticky residue left over, so I'm going in with a steel wool pad and some mineral spirits to scrub everything down and get it to a point that I can sand. This is a pretty crucial step in the stripping process for a couple of reasons. One being that it's going to remove any paint that the stripper didn't take off, and the second being, if you skip this step and go straight to sanding, you're just going to gunk up your sandpaper and waste a ton of sheets. Sanding down the remainder of the furniture is a breeze once you get done stripping. Just look at how the finish comes off in one swipe of the sander. To sand down the curved areas on this dresser, I'm using a foam sanding pad attachment that I put on my orbital sander. This helps curve and contour with what I'm sanding and is not going to leave marks from the straight edge of my sander. And to get into the corners and edges, I'm using my Skill detail sander. It comes with multiple different attachments and is perfect for all the detail sanding you have to do. Next, we're going to repair the damages in the veneer. I'm going to be using this epoxy putty in the color Walnut by Mohawk, and then I will be following it up with their Blendle sticks. So the first thing I'm going to do is fill the holes with this putty. Using this putty is really simple. You just cut it off, knead it together until it's one color, and then you mold it onto the area of damage. It hardens like wood, and it's not like lightweight filler. Once it cures, you can sand it, drill it, even stain it. So for structural damage, this is my go-to. When you're fixing damages, it's very important you pick the right product. This is where a lot of flips go wrong, because if you try to fix deep damage with basic wood filler, it's just going to shrink and crack. You need something that will cure rock solid, and for this instance, Mohawk epoxy putty was the solution. After I sanded everything down and repaired damages, I'm going in with my paint sprayer to apply a pre-stain conditioner to the wood. This is a really important step before you apply stain or seal your finish, because it helps prevent blotchiness and helps the stain go on a lot more evenly. To get the legs on this dresser to match better, I'm going to be going in with a gel stain by Minwax. This is the color Walnut. Gel stain sits on the surface and it doesn't soak into the wood as much. I started off by not using a gel stain and I could not get the color to match correctly, so I'm hoping this solves the issue. These Blendle sticks are amazing. They're like adult size coloring sticks. One important tip when you're using Blendle sticks is always make sure that you've already applied the stain that you desire before you go in and use these Blendle sticks, because you want to match it to the final color of the finished piece. When I'm using Blendle sticks, I normally start with a lighter color and then work my way up in shade. In between coats of the Blendle sticks, you're going to want to use a sanding sealer. This will help seal off that color layer before adding another one. I will kind of draw on the wood grain with a darker shade of the Blendle stick, and then after you seal it off at the end and spray your toner to match, it all blends seamlessly. After all the damages were blended through, I used my paint sprayer to apply a sealer to lock everything in place and add durability. As a reminder of where we started, here's one final look at before, and here it is after. I couldn't believe the wood grain that was hiding underneath all of this paint, and I was so happy that I decided to strip everything down. This piece ended up selling a day after listing on Facebook Marketplace for $450. I'd say it was worth it. What do you think?